Welcome to this month's educational webinar by the Pilot's Advisor. My name is Ryan Fleming and I am the Pilot's Advisor. And what we're going to talk about today is the most expensive steak dinner you'll ever attend. And what I'm doing here is I am poking a little fun at some of those product pushers out there and some of the ways and means that you might end up getting sold on an annuity or some other insurance product that is very, very costly and probably not something that you need. So today's webinar is a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look on how this looks and feels and how it happens. And I'm going to try to teach you and give you a little bit of financial advice without buying the dinner for the entire room, and hope that any of you out there do not fall victim to this type of technique. So let's talk about what we're going to cover today. And like any other webinar, what I want to say to you is this is only going to be about 10 or 15 minutes. I don't like taking up too much of your time, but turn off that cell phone, close the other windows on your window browser, and let's just focus for 10 or 15 minutes so that you can get the most out of this webinar today. What I'm going to give you is a behind-the-scenes look at how attending and I quote this, free steak dinner by a financial advisor might cost you considerably. Unfortunately, I see this way too many times when I have a new prospect and I see what they have on their financial plate. And also, and this sounds crazy for me to say this, but why you may not even need a financial advisor. And being a financial advisor myself, that's probably sounds a little bit crazy for me to say, but there's many, many different types of advisors out there. And I want you to figure out which, if any, might be the best fit for you. It's kind of like a doctor. There's different levels of doctors or medical professionals out there. And the financial services industry is no different. And so I'm going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at that today in today's webinar. So check out this invitation. Have you ever received one of these in the mail? If you have assets and you're over 50, I would be very, very suspect if you weren't getting these in the mail with an invitation to go have a free steak dinner and listen to a financial advisor talk. And I want your warning signs to go up because this seems very much like a timeshare presentation to me. And what they're doing is fishing for prospects out there that would like to come and have a free dinner and listen to them talk. And I want you to be aware that you may not end the night doing what you should probably have done, and that's nothing. And so I'm going to give you a little insight on how this works. But call today and reserve your seat. And it's not just another financial seminar. This one's different. And we'll see about that. But I'm sure you've seen these in your mailbox. And I want to give you guys a little bit of insight on how financial advisors market to the public, because this will give you the tools you need to not fall victim to said timeshare. Financial advisors market to the public or prospects in many different ways. You might hear a radio show or a podcast. Some advisors do TV locally around the news or at certain times of the day to try to get local prospects. The new thing with technology, and of course we do many of these things as well, is podcasts. There's the Pilot's Advisor podcast or a webinar like this, which is supposed to give you some value and maybe teach you some things. And it also causes prospects to want to reach out and talk about some of the issues that we've talked about. College workshops are great. Normally they're more in depth, about 2 weeks. You actually get a workbook and go to class a couple nights a week. You may be like on Tuesday or Thursday, and it lasts 2 weeks, which is very good for information for those investors that are trying to learn. But what we're going to talk about is something that is a little bit more out there and what financial advisors do. Boom, boom, boom. The steak dinner. Okay, so think of me today as the magician who's trying to show you how a certain trick has been implemented. And the steak dinner, it's not something that I'm a big fan of, because basically what a financial advisor or product pusher, and like I said before, most of these are trying to sell annuities, which are not good for 95% of the population, in my opinion, for many, many reasons. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you with that carrot to come have a free steak dinner and get you in that room. And I know, like any other timeshare presentation, you have zero intention of buying the timeshare, but once you get there, sometimes we tend to lose our minds. So the mission behind this, for advisors that do this, They're using food as a motivator to draw people in to listen to a story about how a financial product, not a plan or not a philosophy, but a product, might be able to make a difference in their financial future. And let me show you how this works and how it'll appear to you. So here's the agenda for the steak dinner. You're going to show up, somebody, usually a part of their staff, is going to check you in, help you get seated, and they'll give you a salad and some water to get started just in case you were super, super hungry. And after that, there's going to be an introduction or a presentation. Someone else will come in and welcome you because financial advisors have been taught that if they have members of their staff or someone else welcome them and then introduce them, it improves their stature as a financial advisor. All these studies have been done, and that's what they're taught to do. So the advisor is going to come in, and he's going to do some sort of an introduction and a presentation to you, and he's not going to feed you until he's done talking. He wants your undivided attention. And in most of these presentations, they're going to use the G word, which we're legally not allowed to use unless you're pushing an insurance product like an annuity. And that G word is guaranteed income, which a lot of people like the guarantee, but it's actually not in their best interest in most cases. After said presentation's over, his staff or him will come around with interest cards or even an appointment book to try to sign you up right then and there. They will not feed you until this whole process is done and you've been strong-armed a little bit to at least sign up for an appointment or some sort of a meeting so that they can push their agenda a little bit farther. After that, dinner will be served, and the advisor probably won't even stick around for the dinner. He's already done his job. He's moving on and going home to his family for the night. So here's the math behind the dinner. He's going to have to send out a bunch of invitations, print and postage, mailed out to those that are interested. He's probably going to spend about $7,000 on this process to get a room for, usually about 30 people. And of course, their staff will follow up, giving you calls to make sure you're going to show up and confirming the time and what have you. And dinner for 30, about $50 a head or family unit. He was probably going to spend he or she's probably going to spend about $1,500 on dinner. And usually alcohol is not served at these for a multitude of reasons. One, to save on money, but also they want you to have, their undivided attention and focus on the presentation at hand. So I would say on average, most of these are going to cost between $8,000 or $9,000 to get 30 family units in a room for one of these presentations. I want you to remember that number, the 8,500. The goal of every dinner is to sell one product to one person to pay for it all. So here's where the math falls in. It'd be great if they were able to sell a product to more than one person. That just gets them more of where they want to be. But the goal of any of these dinners is to sell one product and get that person and their commission to pay for the whole dinner. And with that, I want to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how advisors get paid. Bad words: selling a product and also commission. And let's take a deeper look into that. There are generally two ways an advisor gets paid. We normally fall into two different camps. The old school style that has been kind of getting pushed out of the industry is commissions. You sell a certain product, you get a one-time payment, which is the goal of this particular steak dinner. On the other side of it, and this is where my firm at the Pilot's Advisor, it's fee-based, where you're a fiduciary and you're legally obligated to act in the client's best interest. That's an annual payment, and it's a small percentage of the assets under management. You're also on the same side of the table where the advisor is highly motivated to do what's not only in your best interest, but to make you more money, because if they can make you more money and allow your assets to grow, they in hand get paid a little bit more. So we call it sitting on the same side of the table. So two ways to get paid: commission products or fee-based advising as a fiduciary. Here's the math behind a commission versus a fee. Probably what that advisor is looking to do is take a $500,000 IRA or $500,000 and sell a commission product, with that one-time commission being about $35,000 on average, one-time commission for that $500,000 in an annuity or insurance product. On the flip side, if you're doing a fee, it'd probably be around $3,500 a year for that $500,000 of management. So you can see where the motivation is of that advisor to sell a product and get a commission. But that's not necessarily the best thing for you, which is why we're having this conversation. But therein lies the problem. And here's the problem with this type of relationship. In this situation, selling a product becomes the primary goal of this dinner. Selling a product and getting that big commission to pay for the dinner and put some money in that advisor's pocket. So the primary objective is already flawed. Providing objective, holistic advice becomes secondary. And this is the way you're starting out this relationship. Is this the type of advisor that you want to talk to about all things financial and help you get to retirement safely? You really need to ask yourself that question. Could you imagine going to a doctor where he or she was only going to get paid if they prescribe you medicine or perform surgery on you? Wouldn't they be very motivated to find something wrong with you? When in the case you might not need any prescription, you might not need surgery, but that's the only way they're going to get paid. It's kind of like this situation. Then think of it like a doctor where, if the pain's not there, then you probably shouldn't get sold something. So you have to ask yourself if you'd feel comfortable with that type of healthcare. I certainly wouldn't. I would not want to go to a doctor who's going to prescribe something or give me some sort of a surgery, whether I needed it or not. And I'm pretty sure you'd feel the same. So let's look at a better way. So instead of the free steak dinner, there's a better way, and that's what I want to teach you about tonight. I want you to be a little bit skeptical about going to something like this, some sort of seminar where it's free dinner, free this, free that, because that's the road they're probably going down, is to sell you a product. Another thing to be worried about is if you're working for working with an advisor that works for a certain wirehouse or company, and they're only going to subscribe those products from their company. That might not be in your best interest, and it might not be the best products out there. It's things to think about. So we're going to talk about a couple things. And this may seem weird coming from me as an advisor, but do you even need an advisor? I meet with some people, and I know right away that they probably don't need an advisor. And it leads to the question I would ask somebody, and no different than a doctor: what's your pain? What is it? How bad does it hurt? What are your concerns, and why are you here? So on the scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your financial peace of mind? If somebody's a 9 or a 10, I probably can't help them. But if they're a 1 and they can't sleep at night, then this is somebody that definitely needs to work with a financial advisor. Also, if they're maybe a 5 or a 6, or they have questions or concerns, they probably need to work with an advisor and to get their financial peace of mind in order. Another question that I might ask someone is, what's your biggest concern about money? And I get this question, I ask this question a lot, and probably one of the most common answers I get is people are worried about retirement and whether or not they're going to outlive their money, or if they've saved enough to provide for an income that they can live off day to day. Because we don't want to run out of money and only be living off of Social Security, and our quality of life depletes when we need it to be the best it could be because we can't work anymore. So these are big concerns, and these are the type of concerns that I can, as a financial professional, help you with. But if you don't have any pain, you probably don't need to work with an advisor. Another one I get, somebody just looking for a second opinion. So if you have an advisor that you like, why are you shopping around to other advisors? It'd be like going to the doctor's office and the doctor, explained to you that there's nothing wrong with you, and you're going to need to get a second opinion from another doctor. It just doesn't make sense. If you trust your advisor and you're working with an advisor who you like, then you should probably stay with them. And I don't want you to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your time. But if you're in a relationship with an advisor and you don't like him, well, then that might be a reason to go to one of these steak dinners or to be talking to another advisor. I say all that to explain to you and give you a good understanding of the different types of advisors out there. At the bottom of the pyramid is the steak dinner guy or gal. It's the product-focused advisor that is looking to sell you something. This normally comes in an annuity or some sort of insurance-based product, and they're looking for that one-time transaction that would net them a commission, keyword being commission and product. They don't give any investment advice. They don't manage your money or look at other things. It's more of a one-time paid transaction in selling a product. The second advisor would be an investment advisor. This would be an advisor that works with stocks and bonds and mutual funds and various other investment entities out there, and they're going to look to help you invest your money in a efficient way. They're probably not going to talk to you about tax planning strategies or a retirement income plan, estate planning, or anything that's along those lines. And then lastly, there's the holistic advisor. This is the type of advisor that's going to talk to you and give you advice on all things financial, probably has a good understanding of where you work, what your 401k plan is, what your lifestyle is, and what your retirement picture is going to look like. They're also going to do some Monte Carlo simulation to find out how long your money can last and making sure you won't run out of money. So basically in 5 different areas that the holistic advisor comes to you. They're going to talk to you about that retirement income plan. They're going to give you some good investment strategy principles to have your money grow, but also minimize and have some risk mitigation and lower the volatility. Not just tax advice, because that's for a CPA, but more tax planning strategies. The holistic advisor probably has a CPA firm or on staff a tax individual that can help you marry up your investments and also tax planning. We talked about risk management. There might be some insurance product or term life product that you might need to solidify your family and make you feel better about your situation leading into retirement. And then lastly, estate planning. So estate planning is a very state-centric aspect, and so it is state to state. And they're probably not you probably have to meet with an attorney in your individual state to set up the estate plan. But the holistic advisor is going to have knowledge on that and give you advice on what you need to do for that estate planning principles before you go to that estate attorney. So these are the 3 types of financial advisors. And you got to ask yourself, which one are you talking to at a free steak dinner? Also, what type of advisor do you want to work with? Is it the product-focused advisor? Is it the investment advisor that just helps you manage your money? Or are you looking for that holistic advisor as you get closer to retirement, as you're about to shift from the accumulation phase to the distribution phase of retirement? What type of advisor do you want to have a relationship with? So the whole reason for this presentation is for you to be prepared and for you to be skeptical on getting that invite in the mail or having a certain company invite you to some sort of steak dinner type event. So some of the frequent asked questions that should come up in your mind that you should ask yourself when looking for an advisor is, what's the best way to find an advisor that's right for me? What type of advisor am I currently working with? Are you working with somebody that's selling insurance products to you? Are you working with an advisor that's giving you some investment advice? Or are you working with a holistic planner that truly knows your situation and your lifestyle? And that's where I leave that last question. Does my advisor understand my situation and lifestyle? Finding an advisor is a very, very important thing, and they need to understand what your situation is. They need to understand your job, your 401k, all your benefits. If they don't know that and you're having to explain that to them, that might not be the right advisor. And in my particular case, I'm what you would call a niche advisor. I'm the pilot's advisor because I know all about the different legacy carriers and cargo carriers, 401k plans, the lifestyle. I understand the military background. So you need to make sure that you're finding the right advisor for you, and in the hierarchy of advisors, making sure that you're working with the type of advisor you want to work with, whether that's a product advisor, an investment advisor, or the holistic planner that's going to talk to you about all phases of your retirement. As promised, I kept this under 20 minutes, and if you want to learn more, feel free to book an appointment with me, a little 15-minute strategy session or a chat at chatwithpilots.com. You can text me or go to our website and reach out, and we can talk about any of your financial concerns or things that you have going on. But the true piece of this that I want you to realize is be skeptical of the steak dinner. I mean, feel free to go to one, enjoy the free meal, but understand what type of advisor you're probably facing in that situation. If you have any other questions or any other concerns, I'm always here. Reach out to me. And we look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.